I've installed Fedora 24 workstation on part of an internal drive and part of an external drive, and I had hoped to do this video from one of those hardware installations, but so far I've been unable to get any screen recorder to work with Fedora 24. So for the time being, I'm going to make this video largely in a virtual machine using GNOME boxes running on Ubuntu 16.04 Mate. Now I'm going to select Start Fedora without testing it. The testing is the default here. Generally, you don't need to pay attention to all of these things unless something goes wrong and it just stops loading. Now you have the option to try Fedora or install it directly. I always choose to try it because I want to connect to the internet first. In this case, since I'm in a virtual machine, this shows a wired connection. It really is not wired. I'm connected to wireless. This is just an artifact of the virtual machine. So I'm going to interrupt the video here and show you in stills what happened when I connected to actual hardware. I'm pointing to the system menu, and when I click on it, it says the Wi-Fi is not connected. I select the network, select my network, click on Connect, and enter my encryption key. Then click on Connect, and nothing happens. So I'm going to click on Activities, and then type in the word Network, and click on the Network application. Now I get the Wi-Fi menu, and I go to my network and click on the little gear symbol. It opens up with a menu. I'm going to go to Security, and I'm going to re-enter my encryption key here. I suggest you re-enter it even if it's already shown. In this case it wasn't, and I entered it. Then click on Apply, and click on My Network again, and now it's connected. You can see from the little Wi-Fi symbol that it's connected. Now with that out of the way, I'm going to click on Activities, and then on Install to Hard Drive. This is the choice of languages. It defaults to English United States, so I'm going to click on Continue. Now I'm going to choose the installation destination, and here I only have one choice. That's my virtual hard disk of 20 gigabytes. I'm going to click on I will configure partitioning, and then click on Done. Now the first thing I want to do is get rid of the logical volume management and use a standard partition. And that's because I like to have my data transparent from outside of the system. Now I'm going to click on plus to create the first partition, and I'm going to make that a swap partition of 2 gigabytes capacity. Here, if you enter gigabytes as capital G, small I, capital B, it works pretty well. If you just say capital GB, you get a different number. Now I'm going to add a second partition. This is going to be my root partition. So the mount point is at /, which is the root directory, and I'm going to give the rest of the small virtual drive 18 gigabytes. Then click on Add Mount Point. Now I'm going to click on Done. This is a summary of the changes. Everything looks exactly the way I set it up. Therefore, I'm going to accept the changes. Now I have one last chance to quit, but I'm going to begin installation. And while the system is installing, I'm going to select my root password. And then click on Done. Now I'm going to create a user, enter a username, it generates the same thing in small letters, and I'm to make this user the administrator and leave required a password checked. Then I'm going to enter my password. And click on Done. Now I don't have anything to do until it's finished installing. So I'm going to interrupt the video and resume when it's nearly finished. Now we're back in business again. It's generating the initial RAM file system, so we're getting near the end. Fedora is now successfully installed and ready for you to use. Go ahead and reboot to start using it. So I'm going to click on Quit. Then I'm going to go to the System menu up at the top right. Click on the On/Off button. And I'm going to click on Restart. Now we're entering the installed system. There were a few hiccups in GNOME boxes at this point, but eventually I was able to enter my password. And sign in. Now you're greeted with this welcome screen. You can reaffirm your language. And you're typing English US. I'm going to leave location services and automatic problem reporting on, but normally I turn them off. I'm not going to connect to any online accounts, so I'm ready to go. Start using Fedora. Now we get the help screen. If you're unfamiliar with the system, some of these items could be a big help to you. As it is, I'm quite familiar with it and I'm not going to use them. If you're used to earlier GNOME 3 implementations, this one will not be strange. It's much the same as GNOME 3.18. It's very hard to tell the difference. Most of the changes have been under the hood, so to speak. It's been totally recompiled using a more modern compiler with better error handling. There are some new features which I'll discuss later in another video. These are the utilities. Very little comes with Fedora when you first install it, but you can get almost everything you need from the repositories. However, the repositories are not as extensive as those of the Ubuntu distributions, and you will have trouble finding things that are in the non-free category. I'm going to try GNOME software. This version of GNOME software is supposed to be able to upgrade the system from Fedora 24 to Fedora 25 when that becomes available, but I of course haven't been able to try that. I've had a few reservations about GNOME software. It seems to be out of sync with the normal package managers that Fedora has used, such as Yum and DNF. So I'm going to install the Yum Extender DNF version. Now that's installed. It went rather quickly. I'm going to check one thing. GNOME software says the software is up to date. I don't need to do any updates right now. However, I'm just going to check with the Yum extender to see what it says. Now it's downloading the repository metadata, so it's going to take a little while. Now, as you can see, there's quite a few updates. Actually, it turned out to be 341 megabytes worth of updates. They include updates to the network manager, but I have no way of knowing whether that changed the way it would work on installation, since once you get it going, it goes fine. This shows you some of the updates. Now to install these, I'm not actually going to do it, but I'll show you how. You click on the plus sign and it checks all of them. Then you click on the little gears there to apply. Now it's preparing the system to apply the changes. Now what it says is that there were 3 updates that prevent this from working. So what I had to do is I had to go back and uncheck those 3 updates to install the others. But that worked fine. I'm not going to do it now, however. So that's just a brief initial review of my experience with Fedora 24. I'll have more in another video. This is XRAM Tech. Thanks for watching.